Joining me now, Congressman Al Green, a Democrat from Texas. He's also a member of the Financial Services Committee and the Congressional Black Caucus. Congressman, thank you for joining me. I want to play you some sound here because this, of course, is not the first time that the president has missed an opportunity to confront President Putin about election meddling.
I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be. I have great confidence in my intelligence people, but I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today.
Congressman, how do you interpret President Trump not telling Vladimir Putin to stay out of our next election?
I see this as unconscionable, it's inconceivable. One can only imagine what it does to the esprit de corps of the persons who work in our intelligence agencies. They have said that the Russians interfered. Mr. Mueller has said that the Russians have interfered. The president has not, and he talks about a great relationship with Mr. Putin and Russia. He may have a great relationship. The American people do not. It's the American people that we have to put above the president. It's unfortunate that he would make such a statement.
You've been calling for starting articles of impeachment since 2017, but a new Quinnipiac poll taken after the release of the redacted Mueller report found that 66% say Congress should not start impeachment proceedings. And there's a sharp partisan divide, as we all know, with only 4% of Republicans favoring impeachment. Congressman, are you concerned that impeachment talk may actually help the president's reelection?
I'm concerned that if we don't impeach this president, he will get reelected. If we don't impeach him, he will say he has been vindicated. He will say the Democrats had an overwhelming majority in the House and they didn't take up impeachment. He will say that we had a constitutional duty to do it if it was there and we didn't. He will say that he has been vindicated. But here's what I say. We're confronting a constitutional crisis as I speak to you. As I look the people of America in the eye, I'm telling you, we have a constitutional crisis. When the chief executive officer, the president of the United States, refuses to comply with subpoenas and says he will order others to do so, this creates a constitutional crisis. But this isn't the genesis of it. It started when the president decided he would fire Mr. Comey for his as a result of his desire not to be investigated. And when he decided to do this and he went on TV, national TV at prime time, and indicated he was thinking about this Russia thing, that was the genesis of it. We have a constitutional crisis. I regret that I'm the canary in the coal mine. I regret that I was the person who had to first say that there's some obstruction taking place here. I regret that it has to be me, but it has to be somebody. And I take my duties seriously. I love my country, Mr. Mena, and I want you to know this. We must impeach this president. If we don't, it's not the soul of the nation that will be at risk only. It is the soul of the Congress that's at risk. Congress has a duty, a responsibility, and an obligation that only it can fulfill. No one else can, no other entity can. It is Congress that will have to act. And if we put people above party, we'll act properly. But if we allow a party to be above principle, we will not. If we allow political expediency to trump moral imperative, we will have created a shameful situation that this Congress will never live down. History won't be kind to us. We must impeach him.
I do understand that you believe that you are duty-bound, but strategically speaking here, are you okay with the president going through impeachment proceedings and then at the very end in the Republican-controlled Senate where he needs to be convicted, headlines all over the country saying Trump acquitted right in the middle of the presidential election campaign?
Dr. King said, and I agree with him completely, the time is always right to do right. The right thing for the Congress to do is impeach. Let the Senate do what they may. We have to do what we must. This is not a game. This is not about who's going to do well in the polls. The polls will catch up with justice when we show people that we have the backbone, the spine to do what the Constitution demands of us when we have an unfit, reckless, ruthless, lawless president in the White House. We say that. We talk about it. You will hear Democrats talk talking about how he is unfit to be president, how he is doing things that are unconscionable and unconstitutional. But the question is this: will we go beyond these things being talking points and make them an action item? Will we take them to the floor of the one place in the world where the president can be brought to the bar of justice? That's the House of Representatives. That's our moral duty to do so. Moral imperative has to trump political expediency. This notion that if it goes to the Senate, it's not going to be politically expedient to have it happen, my dear brother, that will cause this country to lose Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution, which deals with impeachment. The framers knew that there would be a time such as this and a president such as Trump. And if anybody cares to read Federalist 65, you'll find the words of Hamilton. You'll find those words of Madison and John Jay, where they explain why we at a time such as this have to deal with a president such as Trump with impeachment.
Texas Congressman Al Green, as always, thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you, my dear brother.